over the hill. That age when you get a little achier, a little heavier, and a little grayer. Oh no. Some think that's when life begins to end.
Nonsense! I say that's where life just begins.
From wing walking and skydiving to just getting out for some fun, I'll show you all sorts of ways to stay young at heart. Welcome to King of the Thrill.
Have you ever wanted to take an axe and just hurl it? Probably wouldn't be too good for your walls. At the Keen Axe House, however, you can make that thrill come true. Guess I shouldn't stand here.
Located in the picturesque village of Keene, New Hampshire, the Keen Axe House offers you all the axe-throwing, knife-wielding, ninja-starring fun and excitement you can handle.
The reason I wanted to start an axe throwing business was basically, well, I moved here from Florida about 2 years ago, two and a half years ago, and they're pretty popular down there. When I moved up here, I realized there was nothing around here, so I said, I better do it now before somebody else does it, and here we are. Been open for about 1.5 years now, and it's been going great.
After a few quick examples and a lesson on proper handling and aiming techniques, it was my time to shine. Okay. Maybe next one? Nope. Despite Jamie's instructions and sheer ability to show off,
One over, one under.
I was just not getting it. Ugh, just give up. Alright, dude, what's going on?
So distance controls how much the rotation. Everyone has their spot that works for them. So some people stand as close as 10, 11 feet. Some people as far back as 15 feet. So everyone's different, but it's real easy to find the spot that works for them. It's over rotating for you, so take a full step forward and it will work.
Bingo!
The length of the lanes are all the same. Like this black line that's on the ground, that's 12 foot, which is league standard.
I had found my spot, and it worked time, and time, and time again.
So we start out here, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Touch bullseye red, that's 6, and if you touch a blue, it's 8.
So far, I have 14. Let's take one more shot. Bullseye for the win! Had enough of the axe?
Oh, there's more. We got a whole box of things to throw. We have things like the throwing stars and knives and what they call shovels. Not a shovel by any means, but we have shovels, cleavers. Really anything with a sharp object you can throw.
All right, let's start with that crazy cross.
Playing card. Batman. Throwing stars, yes. Watch out, kids. Daddy's home.
Shovels, stars, axes. What else could there be?
What the devil is this thing?
Despite looking like some medieval torture device, she flew and stuck nicely.
Yeah! Yeah!
Let's try the knife. Well, you can't win them all. Ugh, show off.
There's a lot of companies come in here, businesses come in here. I mean, I get a lot of families. As long as they're physically, safely capable of doing it, they're more than welcome to try.
Yay, William! So are you ready for a thrill that's a cut above the rest? Make your way to the Keene Axe House in Keene, New Hampshire. I'm Tim Lawrence for King of the Thrill. I may be over the hill, but I'm not over the thrill. One and done.
I didn't think you would have hold
Wow. I didn't either.
Good.
For more information on axe throwing, please visit keenaxehouse.com.
Turning 40 felt like a big deal to me. So to celebrate, I decided to take the plunge. Join me as I tell you all about it on this 2-minute thrilling throwback.
Skydiving is something I've been wanting to do for quite some time.
So, I've been wanting to do this for 20 years.
20 whole years?
20 years. 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be 40. Figured I had to do it before I'm over the hill.
I was harnessed up and ready to go. Soon, we were boarding the plane. Climbing to 13,500 feet, that's 2.5 miles up. The door opened, and ready, set, go! The wind hitting your face, the views all around, the complete separation from reality. Yeah, I loved skydiving right away. As a first-time jumper, I was in tandem with a trained professional, which ensured my safety as we plunged toward the ground at 120 miles per hour. Falling 1.5 miles in 1 minute, it was time to open the chute. After coasting smoothly the rest of the way, we made a gentle landing on the ground.
Tim! What's up, my man?
That was incredible.
How are you doing?
Doing great. So whether this is your first plunge or your millionth, skydiving will always get your adrenaline pumping. Thanks for joining me on this 2-minute thrilling throwback. Mile high in the sky. Out on a limb? No, out on a wing. That's right. Today, I'm wing walking.
Traveling all the way across the country to Sequim, Washington, I met up with Marilyn and Mike Mason of Mason Wing Walking for a once-in-a-lifetime thrill.
We like offering wing walking to the public because we just think it is such a cool thing to do. And really the only places you could ever really see it being done was at an air show. So there are still a lot of professional wing walkers in the world, but there's not a lot of places that just people in the general public can learn to do it.
In fact, from what I can tell, Mason Wing Walking is the only place in the US, perhaps the world, which offers this exciting activity. Inside their big red hangar, you see the variety of planes the Masons own. Today's focus, their 1943 Boeing Stearman.
Our friend had owned it ahead of us. His friend that had owned it before had used it a little bit in the film industry. It's probably most well known for the movie Independence Day. This was the crop duster plane.
This one?
This exact plane.
Yes!
After learning a bit of the plane's history, it was time to make some space and begin training. First, Marilyn showed me the proper technique to climb out to the upper wing and buckle in. And yes, while wing walking, you're safely secured with footholds, a safety harness with wire, and a belt and buckle. Mason Wing Walking has never had anyone fall. Now, it's my turn. Things seem to be going pretty well. Until...
My shoes are too big! Take two.
Sneakers don't fit well into the footholds. Luckily, there was a variety of footwear on site which I was able to use. Once I was comfortable with the upper wing, we moved on to the lower. Again, under Marilyn's careful guidance, I learned the proper technique to get out to the javelin on the wing. Once training was done, there was only one thing left to do.
It's go time.
After climbing aboard, Mike took off, flew us to 3,500 feet, and gave the wing tip dip to signal it's time to climb. Now, it was at this point I asked myself, was I really going to do this? You bet I was. And thankfully the training stuck in my head. Once secured, I gave the thumbs up. What happens next is unlike anything you've ever experienced before. Flips, rolls, hammerheads diving you straight toward the ocean. You also get some great wind to the face. Reaching speeds of 130 miles per hour and approaching 4.5 Gs, trust me, no matter how youthful you think you are, you look like an old rag doll at times on this flight. But you won't even notice compared to the sheer exhilaration this ride offers. Once done with the upper wing, it was time for the lower. Repeating the loops, rolls, and hammerheads, the lower wing offers a new perspective on this amazing activity.
It is such a beautiful location. A lot of people just rave about the views we have here. You get to fly out over the water, you get to see the mountains, and it's just a really beautiful spot to fly around in.
After a relaxing cruise to take in the surroundings, it was time to climb back in.
You heard me. Unbelievable. But I experienced it, so I have to believe it. Whew.
We just love teaching people how to wing walk. It is just such a cool experience for us and for other people. We've got to meet people from just all over the world. We have people that literally come just to the United States just to come and do this. It really is a learning process, though. It's not just come, show up, and go for a ride. We really we need people here all day. We're going to teach you the ins and outs and all the what ifs that can happen, and try to really get people to get a good feel for the wing walking, but then just getting to see people's reactions at the end of the day, just the joy, the accomplishment. It's just such a great feeling for the people that get to do it, and then for us, we just don't get tired of seeing happy people having a fun time.
That was an absolutely amazing experience, which I'll never forget.
I'm Tim Lawrence for King of the Thrill. I may be over the hill, but I'm not over the thrill.
For more information, please visit masonwingwalking.com.
I've always loved flying. The takeoff, the landing, even the turbulence. So when I was asked a certain question while on a flight, I knew the answer right away. Join me on this 2-minute thrilling throwback while I experience the joy of flying.
Videography has taken me to some really neat places, one of which was the cockpit of a Cessna Skylark for an interview with a pilot for the Pilots and Paws Rescue Organization. When the interview was finished, pilot Jim asked,
"You want to fly, Jim? I would love to. I'm going to fly. All right. Let me see, how does this work?"
Taking hold, I began banking in a 360 turn, followed by some altitude adjustments to get used to the controls.
Hey, you're doing good. Just the right amount. Thank you. And this will tell you whether you're going up or down. Oh, okay. You know, for fine-tuning that. Yep. Okay.
From there, I was given the go to take the craft at will. For the next 15 minutes, the plane was under my control as I flew over the Penobscot River in Bangor, Maine. The plane was incredibly responsive to my adjustments and I felt perfectly at ease behind the yoke. Hopefully Jim was okay with my skills.
You're natural, Tim. Thanks.
When my time was up, Jim took over again for the perfect landing.
Well, that certainly piqued my interest in flying. Hopefully I can get back in the cockpit soon. Thanks for joining me on this 2-minute thrilling throwback. This here is a model of the Mercury Redstone rocket. This was the first rocket that took an American into space, May 5th, 1961. Basically, it was just a missile with a capsule placed on top. But it is what would pave the way to the moon landing of 1969. Yeah. What do you think? Should we launch this sucker?
Yeah!
Yeah! In 3, 2, 1.
Blast off!
Wow, things sure have changed.
Space has always fascinated and inspired me. From comets, planets, and eclipses, to tracking satellites or streaming a launch with my kids.
Yay!
I'd always wanted to see a launch in person. But when, where, and what rocket? Those were the questions. I have actually seen a rocket launch. Sort of. Every now and again, we can catch the tail end of a SpaceX launch. But for this thrill, I needed to head to South Florida's Space Coast to witness the launch of NASA's next moon rocket. Artemis. 322 feet of pure power. Twin SRBs matched with 4 RS-25s taken from the shuttle era would not only propel this rocket to the moon, but to the top spot for most powerful rocket ever. First, I needed to get to the Kennedy Space Center. For this, I found myself down in Orlando, Florida, where I met up with one of my best friends for an early morning commute.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, it's 5:30 a.m. We've been in traffic for probably 40 minutes now.
Yeah, at least.
Trying to go a mile to a checkpoint.
1 mile.
1 mile.
Here
We're on
we
our
are.
way, but we'll see where we
Here we
actually
are.
see the launch from.
Yeah.
After years of setbacks, launch was set for August 29th, 2022 at 8:33 a.m. I knew this was going to be a big launch, but I wasn't prepared for the amount of traffic there was. Upwards of 500,000 people showed up, lining all the streets, causeways, and sidewalks leading toward Launch Pad 39B in hopes of catching that perfect shot.
We just spent, gosh, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, traveling 1 mile.
This is going to be a long, slow journey. And it wasn't over yet.
We can look across the causeway, and we can see her sitting on the pad right now.
After nearly 3.5 hours in traffic, we had made it and were on our way over to the viewing area at the Apollo Saturn Center at Banana Creek. Seeing this mega rocket on the pad was truly inspirational. Expectations were sky high. Then,
the launch director has called us for the day.
Engineers couldn't get one of the RS-25s down to temperature, so they pushed off the launch. Turns out it was just a faulty sensor, but they didn't know this at the time. Not all was lost. We had the day to explore Kennedy Space Center, and there's plenty to explore. Spacesuits, capsules, moon rocks, and a Saturn V rocket were all highlights of the Apollo Saturn Center. And let's not forget the control center. Oh yeah, I'd make a great engineer. Once done there, it was back to the main visitor complex to check out the rocket garden and STS setup. By the way, those solid rocket boosters are 149 feet tall. Artemis boosters are 177. In addition to rockets, there are shows, exhibits, activities, and displays honoring the heroes of space, both living and fallen. I'd highly recommend visiting their website to see all they have to offer. There's simply far too much to show in this video.
A lot of samples in here. So this is the moon. Ooh, smooth.
That's right, I touched the moon. No doubt this was a great day, but I was here for a launch. Next attempt, September 3rd, 2022 at 2:17 p.m. So after a few quick days home, it was back to the Space Center.
September 3rd, 2022. We're on our way back to KSC. Second time.
She's gonna go today.
You know it.
Things were again looking up. Then,
But it has been an official start for today.
again? This time it was due to a hydrogen leak, a problem which plagued this mission from day one. Faulty sensors, hydrogen leaks, rollbacks, hurricanes. Opportunities kept slipping away. Finally, the next launch window arrived, November 16th, 2022. An early morning window starting at 1:04 a.m. Would third time be the charm? Once again, expectations were high and the skies were clear. KSC was estimating upwards of 15,000 attendees on site to witness this historic maiden flight. Everyone was coming out for the launch, even the area armadillo. There was something about seeing her lit up at night that was truly inspiring. Soon we'd be witness to something unseen since the days of Apollo.
Hanging above me here is a one-to-one model of the Saturn V. This is the rocket that first took humans to the moon back in the late 60s and early 70s. At liftoff, she produced, on average, 7.5 million pounds of thrust. When Artemis lifts off, she'll be producing 8.8 million pounds, making her not only the most powerful rocket in operation today, but the most powerful rocket ever.
This is going to be one big show. Oh, and don't worry about that fire. It was simply excess hydrogen burning off. And speaking of hydrogen, it appeared that that pesky leak was finally fixed. At least in the initial fill. However, when needing to replenish the tanks, yet another leak was detected. What now? Well, it's the Red Crew's time to shine. The Red Crew is made up of specially trained individuals who can work on fully fueled rockets while on the pad. The solution? Tighten some bolts. Luckily, the fix worked and the countdown continued. Then, all range data was lost. This is what lets range flight safety know if the airspace around the launch pad and along the flight path is clear. It also allows communication with the rocket in case of an unexpected issue which requires a self-detonation or a manual one. Not a good thing to lose. Luckily, the issue was traced to a faulty switch in an Ethernet hub. An hour later, the hub was fixed and the countdown continued.
I just got notification we are in countdown.
You don't need me explaining liftoff. Here we go.
The Space Launch System has been in development more than a decade, over budget and behind schedule. But now, after all the delays, the hurricanes and hydrogen leaks, the time for SLS and Artemis 1
It wasn't just the sight, it was the sound and the vibrations. They were all enveloping. Soaring through the sky, the twin sister to Apollo, Artemis once again opened up the pathway to human moonflight. Booster separation was a success, and the core stage continued on into the night. Soon all that was left was a smoking launch pad and a massive contrail in the sky.
That was incredible. Video it can't do it justice. That was just unbelievable. The light, the sound, the feeling of it hitting you. Definitely something, if you ever get the chance to, even if it's not something big as Artemis, get down here to the Kennedy Space Center. Take a day, check it out, check out a launch. You will not regret it. Trust me. Definitely a thrill for King of the Thrill. And in this episode, Friend of the Thrill.
For more information on space travel and launches, visit kennedyspacecenter.com. Thanks so much for joining me on this episode of King of the Thrill. Please follow us on Facebook to stay up to date, like and share this video, and subscribe to our production company, IMR Films, on YouTube. I'm Tim Lawrence for King of the Thrill.
I may be over the hill, but I'm not over the thrill.